rider, and he likes them a little wilder than most. You can tell just by looking, though he'd be the last one to boast. Unless he's been hurt, man, he's been well now for months. He's a bucking horse rider, he won down at Pendleton once. Cowboys ain't easy to love, and they're harder to hold. They'd rather give you songs in love or diamonds. Lone Star belt buckles and old faded Wranglers, each night begins a new day. You don't understand it, you don't die young, probably just ride away. He's a bucking horse rider, and he likes them a little wilder than most. You can tell just by looking, though he'd be the last one to boast. Unless he's been hurt, man, he's been well now for months. He's a bucking horse rider, one down up in Calgary once. He's a bucking horse rider, even one Cheyenne just once. I thought that was, hey, that's a pretty good change of course there. I like action freedom. But my name's Rick Breckenridge. I'm the chair of the Freedom Action Rally. And I'd like to welcome everybody here on behalf of that organization. We try to put on some good quality informational meetings, and we've been pretty successful in the past. And I know it's a hot summer night and the fair's just over and everyone's kind of burned out and the company's probably gone and they got a week till Labor Day weekend and they're going, what in the world am I going to do? We're going to come out and join us and listen to a very informed speaker on the subject matter tonight. Our program tonight is based on donations and volunteers, and so we will be passing a box around to help defray the expenses. And so this room here costs a couple $100 to rent for the afternoon, for the evening. So just take that into consideration. If you would please help us out so we can continue on with these meetings in the future. We'd like to hold them here. We did have them here at first, and then they had a change of management. We went out to East Evergreen, and then someone bought that building, and so we came back here hoping to find the mojo once again and bring back the magic that we had in those first 12 months when we first started this thing up, because we had a lot of big interest and we filled the other side of the room here numerous times, and we'd like to do that again. But in the meantime, we're going to have to work back up and get everybody's confidence and their attention. Once again, it's going to be an uphill battle, but if you'll stick with us, we will appreciate you. All right, our speaker tonight is Mr. Toby Bridges. He's from Missoula, Montana. He is the founder of Lobo Watch. It's an advocacy group, and there's a website to keep the spotlight on the wolf problem in the Northern Rockies. Now, anybody out here gone out and bought their wolf license? Got there, spent their 19 bucks? I have. See one other, so there's that option available to you too. Mr. Bridges has been an outdoor writer since 1972 and has worked as associate editor of Gun World and Bow and Arrow, so he's getting both sides of the aisle, and magazine. And through the years, he has columns in Peterson's Hunting, Guns Magazine, Shooting Industry, and Gun Week Magazine. So he's kind of covered the advocacy of those areas where enthusiasts and outdoor advocates are those are the kinds of magazines they read. I saw Peterson, but I didn't see Guns and Ammo on there, and that's the one I subscribe to. But Toby's had more than 1,000 magazine articles. Was that before computers? You had to handwrite those. You had to handwrite them out and send them to the editor.
No, I did type.
You typed, okay. You and Jack O'Connor. and 14 outdoor books published. Now that's an amazing feat right there. He's also worked as a public relations manager for Bass Pro Shops and as marketing manager for Night Rifles. His Lobo Watch column now appears on the bowhunting.net website as well. So if you would please join and give a warm welcome to Mr. Toby Bridges for all this.
I don't know if some of you were at the last time we tried this. I think it was last January, and I think the wind chill was about 46 degrees below zero, and you could see all of about 30 yards when it got clear. So this is a little bit better weather-wise, let's put it that way. I was going to start this by asking, has anybody heard any good wolf lies lately? Then I got thinking about that. What would be good about a wolf lie? So let me ask, has anybody heard any new wolf lies lately? Before we get too far, is there anybody here that is in favor of having wolves? Well, see, usually I can get somebody to tell me my first lie, then I can jump right in. Because the whole topic I'm getting into tonight is about the wolf lies that have led to this disaster that we're now experiencing.
There is a good reason to have wolves. They're good for target practice.
Oh, darn it. See, somebody has to start this thing off with the truth, you know. That kind of spoils the whole evening for me. Now, one of the reasons that the environmentalists and the pro-wolfers used when they were pushing to get, the wolves reestablished here in the Northern Rockies was they kept claiming they would balance the ecosystem. And they were the sanitarians of nature. And, that is actually the biggest wolf lie, one of the biggest wolf lies of all. They claimed that they'd be good for the health of our big game populations by weeding out the sick and the weak. And then that wolves would only kill what they needed to eat. Now those three right there are three of the biggest wolf lies. That's the wolf lies that the entire Northern Rockies Wolf Recovery Project was based on. According to those who actually put together the plan, and has any of you ever read the Northern Rockies Wolf Recovery Plan? It's about 120, 130 pages long. And right along with it, there's the 1994 Environmental Impact Statement filed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It's over 400 pages long. And it's written in good old scientific gobbledygook that even those guys, if you handed it to them and put them in separate rooms and made them read it and interpret it, they would not come up with the same interpretation. It's a collaborative effort. And there were, I think, 15 people on the Northern Rockies Wolf Recovery Project, or the plan for the project. And one of them, it was our, beloved commission, chairman of our Fish, Wildlife and Parks Commission, Bob Ream. And he was actually the project leader. And, which I find a little odd that now we have him. He's part of the problem from the very beginning, and now he's trying to be part of the solution. You can't play both sides of this fence. They claimed that they were using the best available science when they put that plan together. The truth of the matter was, we didn't have any wolf experts in this country. We didn't have any wolves in the Northern Rockies to speak of. Now, there were a few nucleuses of native wolves that managed to survive and hang on. But nobody was really studying them. Nobody was really trying to figure out why they did this, how they did that, what their reproduction rates or anything were. They were so secretive that our biologists couldn't find them. Bob Ream spent 3 or 4 years doing a study on the wolves that were like in 9 Mile, and then several different smaller packs, here in northwest Montana. And in 4 or 5 years, I remember reading his report. About year number 3, he was really excited. He finally saw a wolf. And, I mean, they didn't know where to look for wolves. They still don't. Part of what they called the best available science was that they couldn't find the native wolf that was native to this part of the country. And so, what are they going to do when they want to reintroduce wolves? Well, if you don't find the native wolf, what do? You have to find a replacement wolf. Well, so they went to Canada, and they brought in a considerably larger wolf than what was native here. Our native wolf here was Canis lupus eremotus, and at maturity, a mature male would top sometimes a little over 90 pounds. The wolves they brought down and turned loose in northern Rockies were Canis lupus occidentalis and Canis lupus graciosalis. They won't admit that they brought the graciosalis strain in because they say they got all of their wolves out of central Alberta. Trouble is, they paid too many trappers outside of that area to catch wolves, and trappers like to talk just like everybody else. And they especially like it when they can brag how they sold wolves to a stupid United States government that wanted to turn wolves loose to destroy our elk and big game populations. So, our Fish and Wildlife Service has been part of this lie. Matter of fact, they are the fabricators of this lie. They are the ones who convinced Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, Idaho Department of Fish and Game, to play a part in the wolf disaster that we're now experiencing. Last time I was doing this, we just kind of got a big group discussion going, and we had a big dinner. Before that, we were all just kind of having a good time, so we got a big discussion going, and never got to half the things I had on my list. So this time I made a list, and I'm going to try to stick to it a little bit. Now, if we're talking about something, though, and we're on a topic about wolves and the lies behind the Wolf Project, if you have a question or a comment, yes, ma'am.
How big, you didn't mention how big the wolves from Canada get.
Well, I've hunted up in that area a few times. The one thing I'll tell you is that when a guy is 30, 40 miles back in the bush and he shoots a wolf, the last thing he's worried about is bringing it out whole. He'll skin it right there on the spot. I was up in Northwest Territories one time, and we were hunting caribou. And like an idiot, I didn't buy a wolf tag. I could have, but I went up there to try to shoot a record book muzzleloader with a muzzleloader, record book caribou, and fortunately, I ended up taking number 3 in the muzzleloader record book. So I kept going what I was after, and finally got what I wanted. But during that trip, I saw 33 different wolves in about 10 days. There were several different packs running there, and you could tell they were different packs just from the coloration and the size of the different wolves. Now, 3 of my buddies that went up there with me, they did get wolf tags. One of them shot one that they were able to bring back to camp because we were on a big lake, and they were hunting out of a boat. And so they loaded that wolf up in the boat because it was only like 60, 70 yards off the lake shore. Brought it back to camp, and they actually did weigh it. It weighed 139 pounds. Well, a few days later, when one guy was about 12 miles from the lake, he shot one, and they skinned it out. We hung the 2 skins up side by side, and the one that was shot 12 miles from the lake, I'll guarantee you, was at least 15, 20% bigger than the wolf that we did weigh. So, I mean, they say that they don't get over 150, 160 pounds. I say hogwash. I've seen one. I've seen a skin that came off of one. The cameraman right back here, Patrick Jensen, he brought a wolf hide over that it was bought from Canada, or was it Alaska? Alaska.
The biggest in Alaska.
In Alaska. And we hung it up on my shed, and from tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, that hide was what, 8 foot something?
Like 8'9".
8'9", and it was a big wolf.
Right over here at Western Building Center, as you walk in, they have a bulletin board with all the game that the employees have gotten over the years. And there's one in there that's got to be close to 200 pounds.
And
He's standing up, and the wolf's head is above his.
Right over here in the Cabinet Mountains, last year, we were just cruising up through the Cabinet, coming across it by Vermilion Falls. We were just, that's not a very good road if you've ever been